So why all this grace, forgiveness, loving your enemy, being good to those who persecute you type of thing, Jay? Why do you continuously say this to us? Because I get a lot of that. That's what I hear a lot of pushback. A lot of, we want to see those people go away. If they don't recognize my right to belong or to exist, then I can't recognize them. We can't agree to disagree on that. But I think about people like Harvey Milk, King, Rustin, Malcolm X, Hume, all these people who worked really hard for civil rights and unity in communities that were completely divided. And I think, like, what would have happened if those people weren't willing to sit down with people who did not recognize their existence? The world would be a different place for a lot of people, and it would be a much unsafer place for a lot of people. Sometimes you have to be willing to take a stand and talk to those people that you don't agree with. And what you might find out is that if you show grace and compassion, they may eventually become your allies and your friends and your partners in fighting an unjust system. And that's been my experience. I always remember growing up watching my mom disarm people in public when we would go out and people would say mean things to her, and she would always go up and introduce herself and ask them about themselves. One time the group of kids were making fun of my mom, and she just took them all out to eat and just disarmed people with love. And I was always kind of shocked by it because I wanted to fight. I wanted to tell them to go to hell. And my mom always showed grace. And I think that's her legacy, and a part of that legacy that I carry with me. And so that's why we're going through John Hume, and that's why we're using Paul Tillich's sermons, and that's why we're going to go through Dr. King's sermon about loving your enemies. And I wanted to share a little bit about that because it is hard, it is tough. We're going to go through it starting this Sunday. We're going to take a deep dive into Dr. King's sermon about loving your enemies, because it is asking a lot. But it's not just me, some white guy who's middle-aged punk rocker, asking you to love your enemies. It does come from my own life experience, but it also comes from the experience of these great human beings who really lived and struggled and died for the belief that we can live in a better world if we're able to love each other better and forgive one another and move forward. So here's some words straight from Dr. King. And I know they're not easy, but just sit with them for a second, and we'll talk about it more this Sunday. But Dr. King says here, the words "I will forgive you, but I'll never forget what you've done" never explain the real nature of forgiveness. Certainly one can never forget, if that means erasing it totally from their mind. But when we forgive, we forget in the sense that evil deeds no longer a mental block impeding a new relationship. Likewise, we can never say, "I will forgive you, but I won't have anything further to do with you." That's when I hear people saying, like, well, I'll just forgive them, but I'm done with them. But likewise, we can never say, "I will forgive you, but I won't have anything to do with you." Forgiveness means reconciliation, a coming together again. Without those, no man can love his enemy. The degree which we are able to forgive determines the degree to which we are able to love our enemies. So forgiveness means reconciliation and coming together again. And I know that's a tall order, and it's tough, and probably not going to suit everybody and not meant for everybody. And you definitely need to be in the mental place to do that. But I think for this world, we're also separated and also divided and also angry, that this is the only way to have any hope in a future. I think about my kids regularly and think about how cruel we are. I even think about the fact that, I don't know if my mom would have done very well in this type of climate. There's so many questions, so many ifs, ands, and buts, so many ignoring of nuances in one another's lives that I don't know if she would have been comfortable living in a world like this, because things have changed since she passed. But that's my encouragement to love and loving your enemies. And we'll go in deep dive to see what Dr. King had to say about that this Sunday. Hope you'll join us. Hope this causes you to think. Let me know what you think in the comments, and check out what we're doing. We'll have a new talk up tomorrow everywhere, and you can check out what we're doing in the link in bio. Thanks.